You've just seen me picking a piece of cane to use. Cane is never exactly the same, so you want to actually pick the side of the cane, which is the dimension you want, and split the piece of cane into thirds basically. So I've taken a third of this piece of cane and I'm now about to cut it into the right length to fit onto the gouging machine. Gouging machines usually have a guillotine attached to cut the cane to the right length. There we are, this one's a bit tough. From this particular piece of cane, I'm able to get 2 lengths to gouge. I also checked the cane to make sure it was straight, because the cane which is warped won't fit nicely into the machine. Now, this particular implement is my pre-gouger. You'll notice here that I just put in there, and now as I wind it through a blade, a lot of the cane will be taken off. So with my actual gouging machine, I don't actually have to remove this cane, it's already gone. It saves a lot of wear and tear on the blade of the gouging machine. So there we go. You'll notice that I keep moving away bits of debris. Reedmaking produces lots of debris. So back to the gouging machine itself. Now I have a gouging machine which puts a specific curvature on, or gouges out and planes out to specific dimensions. And the gouging machine will actually be best if it's used with a piece of cane of the right diameter. So that was why I was checking the diameter at the start, to make sure that I was using a piece of cane as close to the dimension that the gouging machine likes to work on. I get much more accurate results the more accurate I can be with these measurements. There's my micrometer. And with that micrometer I'm going to test the actual gouge that I've put on. You can see here that it's around about 0.58 of a millimetre. Different people like different gouges and different shapes. So this is one that I happen to like. This is another piece of cane. We cut to that one, and that was a bit thicker. It's 0.6. That's still within the realms of possibility for me. The edges will be much thinner, and there again you can actually test to make sure that the edges are thin enough for what you require. So the next stage is to make the cane wet. Some people like to gouge the cane when it's been soaked. I actually like to gouge it dry and then soak it up. This is just a piece of metal at a certain length, and I'm going to actually fold the cane over it so that there's a crease there, and it's basically in half. After being soaked for a few minutes, you'll find the cane will actually be quite pliable, and you can simply bend it over something sharp, and this is what I use, a piece of metal. So this is the next stage, it's the shaping. The piece of cane is a bit too wide for the top of my shaper, so I'm actually going to take off a section either side, again making sure that things are symmetrical. So it's not thinner at one side than the other. I'm just doing another one here. Just a little slice off each side. Okay. Now that I put the cane onto the shaper, make sure that it's lined up so that it's symmetrical, even on both sides. and push well down onto the shaper. Shapes vary enormously, so you'll find that you need to find one that actually suits your oboe and the way you like to blow. This is the one, again, that I quite like. You have to make sure that you cut very close to the shape of the shaper there, because you want to actually follow the exact shape, not make an approximation. And that's one done. You see that I've done 3 in all there. Again, we put the cane in water, making sure that it stays wet. We try not to over-soak it, so you probably find that you'll work out how much over-soaked is with experience, but 1 or 2 minutes in water with this cane is often sufficient. Here I'm actually thinning down the ends of the cane because I'm going to bind it onto the staple next. And in order to minimise the chance of cracking, if I actually make the ends here very thin, it'll actually make the cane wrap on more smoothly onto the metal tube, and there's less likelihood of the stress of the wrapping causing splits. You may find that your cane will actually wrap on without having to do that. That is a safety check.